All right, this video is going to introduce you guys to the idea of what a perception is. And a perception is a word that, if you understand it and think about it and be conscious of it, can make a big impact on how successful you end up being in your life in general. So, to start, I'm going to give you a little example. I want you to look at this picture in the background. And I want you to try to come up in your head with, what do you think this picture is? What do you think it is? Okay, so you came up with a guess, right? Try to think about what led you to think that. Why did you come up with that? Okay, so in your own head you figured out to you what this is, and you've kind of thought about, okay, why did I think that? What you did was just create a perception in your mind of what this picture is. You took whatever information you had available to you, like maybe you'd seen this before, maybe you'd never seen it before, maybe you recognized some colors, maybe you recognized some shapes. Whatever was going on in your head that you had access to, that you could connect to this picture, you did that. And then you made a judgment. You decided what it was. Now, here's what this picture really is. This picture is of sulfur. It's a chemical. It's in a cave somewhere. It's in a sulfur in a cave that's formed in a kind of like crystals. Now, what it is doesn't really matter, because unless I told you what it really was, unless you got new information, whatever you thought in your head, that's what it might as well be as far as how you would treat it. So if you think about, did your perception line up with reality? Probably it didn't. Your perception was probably not totally accurate in terms of being real. But all that matters is that you made a perception and how you would act towards that picture. Like if I was like, do you want to eat that? Well, if you thought that was cotton candy, you'd be like, yeah, that'd be delicious. If you thought that was a big pile of boogers, you'd be like, no way, that looks disgusting. The way you would act towards that thing depends on your perception. Depends on what you perceive it to be. This same sort of thing happens to you all the time. Other people take what they can see of you and they make judgments. And I'm not talking about the way you look, but I'm talking about the things that you do. The things that you put out publicly that you do in front of other people. Be that online or in person. Other people's perceptions don't always match up with reality, because no one out there watches everything you do and sees everything you do. Hopefully, that'd be creepy and weird. However, what you do publicly, that's what other people see. That's the information they have to form judgments about what kind of person you are. Little and big things you do, that's what goes into creating someone's perception of who you are. And a lot of times for most of us, we don't realize that. A lot of times for most of us, we walk around kind of in our own heads, like thinking about all the things that make us as a person. That, yeah, we do little and big things, and some of them are nice, and some of them are maybe not so nice, and some of them are good, some of them are maybe not so good. But we think of ourselves probably as like good people overall, because most of what most of us do are good choices most of the time. However, it's important for us to think about, well, what am I showing off to the world? What things am I showing off to the world in terms of the choices I make and the things that I do? Because the things you show off to the world, that's the thing that forms people's perception about you, and then that influences how people will treat you. And when we talk about especially people in a position of authority, people who might give you a job someday, people who are your teachers, your folks, your friends' parents, maybe someone you want to date someday and their parents, those people in a position of authority, the things you do in front of them, the things they see you do, that's going to form their perception of you, because that's all they have to work off of, and then that's going to determine how they end up treating you. Because most people you meet don't know anything about you. And usually the first couple things you do in their presence, or maybe if you're online, the first few things they see posted about you online, that is going to influence what they think about you in general and how those people end up treating you. So your job for this assignment on Canvas is just to write me a message explaining in your words, what does the word perception mean and how can that affect you in your life? All right, do that.